So I'm going to talk about two opportunities that we are doing through the Center for Gifted Studies. The first one is a new opportunity called Make a Difference, the Doctors Mody Service Learning Competitions for Young People. So a little bit of background, in 2020, Doctors Mody established the Mody Endowed Fund in Service Learning through the Center for Gifted Studies. They both have a passion for a lifelong commitment to serving their communities and sparking a passion for volunteerism. And they are really hoping that this endowed fund will encourage young people to give back to their communities and engage in service as well. We are hosting two competitions as part of this endowed fund, and projects must be completed by May 1st of 2022. And then a report is required at the end of the project. So the first competition is open to students who have attended SCATS or VAMPE in the 2019 through 2021 school years, or they are currently at the Gatton Academy. And this competition provides 10 micro grants, each worth $500, for students to either develop and expand an existing project or respond to a specific community need with a new project that they have. And then we also have a competition that is open to all students in 7th through 12th grade in Kentucky schools during this school year. There are going to be 3 awards for this competition. First place is going to be $1,500. Second place is $1,000. And third place is $500. And again, this is for developing or expanding on existing projects or to develop a new project to respond to specific needs within their community. And we have several criteria that are going to be used for judging these applications. I'm not going to read through all of these, but does the application clearly and effectively show that the community problem or need exists and should be addressed? For new projects, does the application demonstrate why a new project or initiative is needed? And for expanding or existing project initiatives, does the application explain why the existing project or initiative should be developed or expanded? And then there are several other criteria listed. And on our website, you can go and visit to see all of those criteria as well as the application. And I will drop that link in the chat in just a little bit. The other opportunity I wanted to talk about is the Talent Identification Program of Kentucky. As many of you know, DukeTip closed in December 2020, and it was the talent identification program that we had been using for 7th graders in the state. So in response to that, folks at the Center for Gifted Studies and other centers around the state, around the nation, met as a consortium to talk about what happens next. And we decided that each individual state would start developing their own talent identification program. I'm going to skip this slide. So what we have in the works right now is we are going to use an assessment called IXL, and it is licensed content from the Explore assessment. And it will have 4 different sections: science, mathematics, reading, and English. And that will be for students in grades 4 through 6. And that assessment can be administered at the school. It is a virtual assessment. We will have sign-up opportunities through the Center for Gifted Studies, and the school will proctor that assessment for students. At the end, students will receive a comprehensive report. It goes through different information about how they performed on each subsection, but it also provides information about how you might serve those students in your school district, depending on how they performed on those subsections. So it's a very helpful resource to not only know what the score is, but how you can adapt your service options for that specific child. The benefits of performing in the Kentucky Talent Search: it's access to above level testing for students in 4th through 8th grade, And I just talked about the 4th through 6th grade. We'll talk about the 7th and 8th graders here in a second. I mentioned the reports that you receive, and it's also very helpful because you'll receive a science score for those 4th through 6th graders who complete the assessment. And then, like DukeTip, we will also have an annual recognition ceremony, and we at the Center for Gifted Studies at Western Kentucky University hosted the DukeTip recognition ceremony for all but the first year. So we're going to continue that recognition. For students in 7th through 8th, traditionally DukeTip would recognize students who had taken the ACT in 7th grade. We are still working through this. There have been changes at ACT that have been impacted by the pandemic, but also just because of leadership changes at ACT. And our consortium has representatives on it that are actively working with ACT and talking with them to figure out a plan for getting the talent search back up and running for our 7th and 8th graders. We received an update just on Tuesday that ACT is ready to move forward with having students sign up through talent searches who are 13 and older. And we are trying to figure out a way to also get those students that are not yet 13, but are ready to take part in the talent search to be able to participate. And we're optimistic that that will be able to happen, but we just don't know exactly all of the details for that just yet. And I also wanted to mention that we are hiring a program coordinator for TIP Kentucky, and that person will coordinate the program TIP Kentucky that will be going out into the school districts and talking with them about what IXL is, what the ACT component of the TIP Kentucky program is, and they'll also coordinate planning of scheduling different times for students to take those assessments. And then we also, as part of the center, have a Javits grant that we're participating in, and we have a camp during the summer for at least the next 4 years that this coordinator will be in charge of. And with that, I would like to open it up to any questions that folks may have. I will go ahead and stop share so I can see everything. So Bryn has asked, do the students need to be identified or placed in any gifted programs to compete for the service learning competitions? No, they do not. That is not one of the requirements. Rachel has asked if IXL is something the districts would need to purchase. Yes, there is a fee for that. Joya, do you remember what the fee is that we are charging for that?
If I remember what we haven't done this in a couple of months, but I think it is right at $49.
Yes, there's a fee for that. And that takes care of the assessment part and our administrative part for that. And you'll receive the scores as the comprehensive reports as part of that.
Tyler, there's a lower price for students who are eligible for free and reduced lunch.
Yes. And then Terry has asked, is IXL an NRT? I'm not sure what that acronym is. Do you know that acronym?
I think the answer to that is yes.
Okay. Norm reference test. Okay. The Bell and Blank Center is the center that we're working with that has worked with IXL, and they have conducted norming of that. And it is licensed content from the Explorer assessment that was originally developed by ACT and has been discontinued by ACT, but the Bell and Blank Center has licensed that material. So we are able to compare students to other students of that same age range. Any other questions? I know I went through that very quickly. I will put my email in the chat. So you can send me an email if you have questions about either of those two opportunities. Rachel has said, how should or would we identify students for the ACT? I think that she means to take part in the talent search. Joya, do you have a
I
suggestion for that?
believe that it would be very much like we have done for the talent search with DukeTip, and that's looking at students who are at pretty close to the top, and to encourage them, because that's the way to remove the learning ceiling, is to take a test that doesn't have a grade level limit to what you can do. That information is invaluable to you. And when you get that information for an individual child, that needs to be kept with the record for identification. It's very important.
And both IXL and the ACT are above level assessments. IXL is developed for students in the 8th grade. So when we have students in 4th through 6th grade taking that, that's above level. So like Julia mentioned, that's really removing that ceiling from the assessment so we can see just how well these students can perform in these different areas.
And of course, there are all kinds of implications for instruction when you're performing above grade level.
And I think one of the great things that I was really impressed with IXL was definitely the comprehensive score reports that educators and parents receive, because it's not just saying this is what the score is, it's saying this is the score and these are the service options that you might consider putting in place for the student to help them really exceed at their highest levels.
Absolutely.